Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is titled Airshow Static Displays, a Fun Time to Be a Pilot. Now, Edwards Air Force Base, when I was out there in the late 70s, always would have a great air show. I mean, they had the coolest airplanes out there, and being a pilot, they'd say, hey, you want to stand in front of your airplane for a few hours? So I go, sure. Now, it's nice if you have a cool looking airplane that's pretty, and we had beautiful paint jobs on it, not like Air Training Command. I mean, they've got nice paint jobs now, but back then, our paint jobs just glistened, and the paint job on the Training Command 38 looked like somebody had used white chalking house paint on it. In fact, I parked next to a guy at Vandenberg, and the instructor stops me, and he says, why does your airplane look so nice? And I said, well, our crew chiefs just wash it every day. But we had the NASA paint job, except we didn't, the polyurethane, the beautiful paint, but we didn't have the blue stripe or anything. But we had just an absolute beautiful paint job at the time, which was very unnatural. Now, you can have a fun time at air shows. What you want to do is you want to get a few little cones and you want to set them out, and then you want to stand in front of it, and people will go, what are you doing? He says, oh, I'm a stealth pilot. That's my stealth aircraft behind me. All right, all kidding aside, the true aces of the base when it comes to standing next to the airplane, and now keyword is standing. You'll hear about this later, but look at that beautiful paint job. You come in there, you put on a great air show, and then you stand in front of your airplane. You're a Thunderbird. I mean, these guys are cool. If you want to be somebody standing in front of an airplane, you want to be a Thunderbird. Or you can be these guys too. They put on a heck of a good air show, the Blue Angels. Now, I watched the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels fly, and I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. So I joined in college Air Force ROTC, and they sent me to summer camp. And we went to Otis Air Force Base, and we're in the barracks there. And these barracks looked bad at World War II, and when we were there, they weren't much better. But anyway, we're there going through our basic training at Otis Air Force Base and running in combat boots on the sand. I used to run on the nice rubberized track, barefoot. My speed, combat boots on the sand wasn't quite as good, but I digress. But anyway, while I was there during the summer, Otis Air Force Base, which is right near Cape Cod, by the way, and normally that's someplace that people go for a nice luxurious vacation. Well, this wasn't quite the same for us. But anyway, they had an air show, so this is cool. Well, they've got airplanes on static display, and they happen to have an F4 there. And, we're there in our cute little cadet uniforms with our cute little pretend cadet wings, because we're going to be, pilots, and there's this F4 and the pilot's up there. And, this is a cool looking aircraft. Pilot's up there, there's a ladder, and we're standing down there at the base, and this young lady comes up, and she climbs up to the top of the ladder, and it's very windy. She's wearing a short dress, and we're standing at the base, and okay, this has got to be PG rated, but you can imagine. And we turned, the two cadets, the one cadet and me, we looked at each other and said, we got to be pilots. Okay, like I said, standing in front of your airplane is important. If you have to squat down in front of your airplane, you're not fooling anybody. It's not a big airplane. I mean, it may be a pretty looking airplane, but you don't want to squat in front of your airplane. You want to stand in front of your airplane. Now, here's where I'm going to with this. Okay, I go through the Air Force. I am a T-37 instructor, and I'm out at Vance Air Force Base, and they said, hey, we got an air show at Woodring. We'd like you to take the airplane over there and has a static display and stand in front of it. So, okay, I'm standing in front of it. Now, you notice it. When you're standing there, you're looking down on the aircraft. Now, you got a kid that comes up there, and he's 5 years old, and he's looking up at the airplane, so he's still impressed, and he says, how fast does this go? And you go, 300 miles an hour. Of course, his dad's standing next to him looking down on the airplane, and he goes, my Tesla can do that, and I don't even have to put my hands on the wheel. So again, here's the thing. Squatting in front of the aircraft, no, you want to stand. But let's talk how you get around that, okay? If it's a small air show and there's only two of you. Now, I was at Edwards Air Force Base, and I got invited to go take a T-38. It was with the group in Stanavel, and that standard evaluation. We're the ones who give check rides in that. And my boss is in an F4, And we're in the 38, and we fly down there, and we put on this little entry air show at El Centro, I believe it was. No, El Toro, Marine Naval Air Station that's been closed down. Didn't realize or didn't think too much about it. It was a noise-sensitive area, so we're doing high G turns in afterburner, and probably didn't appreciate that. But there's just the two of us there at the air show, the F4 and me in the 38. And of course, my airplane is nice white and glistening. His is painted up combat colors, so mine actually looks good. So that was kind of cool because we were the big show there. But you can also have situations where you stand in front of an airplane, and not necessarily at an air show, but, you know, being pilots, you can look cool. Now look at that guy under the blue arrow. Doesn't he look cool? That's when I was chairman of the new Aircraft Evaluation and Certification Committee for the Airline Pilots Association. We just got done with a flight evaluation on the MD-90. That's me, and that's on the end are the two test pilots. The guy in the far left, actually, he came to work for United Airlines. We had a little joke that the manufacturers weren't going to let us fly their airplanes anymore because we kept stealing their test pilots and taking them to the airlines. But anyway, that's a picture where we're not at an air show, but it's a nice, cool standing in front of picture. All right, now there's some airplane you can't pay me to stand in front of it. They're just too ugly. I mean, this is probably a cool historic aircraft, and it's got neat propeller. Weird though, but that's a little too ugly. I'm not going to stand in front of it. But so I've got a nice airplane. It's my airplane. It's a Great Lakes open cockpit biplane, and you take it to an air show, and you can stand in front of it. I couldn't at this time because I was taking the picture, but it's a small air show. It's at Blakesburg, Iowa. It's the Antique Association. There's only about 200 people there because it's a members only thing, so it's a small air show. But then again, I got to take my airplane to a big air show. This is Oshkosh. 650,000 people come by. I got my airplane there. Really cool. And it's at the Waco booth, if you've ever been to that. Now, it's not Wacko. That's what the Stearman guys call Waco. They call it Wacko. That's not very nice. And it's like the taco. It's Waco. And it's not like the city in Texas, Waco. But, you know, you put your airplane there, and I guess I could have stood in front of it for the 7 days, but that'd been a little tiring because you want to see the air show, and they want to put their salesman in front of it anyway to sell it. But the nice thing about it is there are a lot of people up there, and you run into friends you know, and you get your picture taken standing in front of your airplane at the booth there. Or the other nice thing is you don't even have to be on the primary display up at Oshkosh. You can just bring your airplane in, tie it down, set up your little tent, and let everybody come around to you, and you can drink beer there, and everybody can admire your airplane. Of course, Oshkosh is a neat place. They got a lot of airplanes, people standing next to it. Of course, this was an all-female crew, so they didn't want me standing next to it. But one of the fun things about air shows is the little kids who come and they sit in the airplane and they think it's cool and they have a fun time. And I happen to know this little kid here actually ended up being a 777 pilot years later. And here's that same cute little kid with his very beautiful mother. And this is a picture taken on the stabilizer of the Thunderbird T-38. And this picture was taken moments before the crew chief saw us and came over and yelled, "Get off my stabilizer, you're going to scratch the paint." And of course, you can stand in front of airplanes that you've never flown and most likely never will fly. But if somebody that you know, like your son, happens to know the pilot and know her very well, you can stand next to it. But in the end, you get old. You flew for an airline that kicks you out because you got too old. At least I got to fly to 65 instead of 60, so I got a few more years. But they don't want you to stand next to their airplane anymore. You know, just move along there. So if you want to have fun, you got to bring your own airplane to an air show. But that's my little dissertation about standing next to airplanes at air shows and why it's fun to be a pilot at an air show, standing next to an airplane. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.